Leading things off for the Cardinal will be Tommy Edman. He's done so 23 straight times now this season. Bo Branton bats second. Mikey DeKroger, who's batting an impressive .328 this season, bats third. Alex Dunlap in the cleanup position. Matt Winokur, followed by Johnny Locker, Jack Klein, Drew Jackson, and rounding off the Stanford lineup will be Bryce Carter. Now let's go ahead and check things out for the Sun Devils and who Tracy Smith will be sending up to the plate tonight. Johnny Seawald will lead things off as usual. Jake Peavyhouse in the 2-hole. Colby Woodmansey still over there in the 3 spot. RJ Ibarra batting cleanup. Trevor Allen, the veteran, batting 5th. Brian Servant doing the work behind the plate yet again and batting 6th. Joey Bilek, he bats 7th, playing first base tonight. David Greer, another start over at third base. He's looked good so far this season. He bats 8th, and Andrew Snow getting his 5th straight start over at the second base bag, bats 9th, rounding off this Sun Devil lineup. So as we conclude our starting lineups this evening, again, we welcome you to Phoenix Municipal Stadium. Max Rossiter, Andrew Chapman with you on this one. The Sun Devils looking to clinch the series tonight. Take the second game of this one they won last night in incredible walk-off fashion thanks to the bat of Chris Beal, who was slumping lately but found the swing when he needed it. Ryan Kellogg steps onto the mound for the Sun Devils today, clearly the ace in this staff. He's got the best numbers out of any starter with a 3.30 ERA. He's 4-0 in 6 appearances, 6 games started. He's struck out 34 batters and walked just 6. Tommy Edman watches that pitch for a strike. And Max, really, Ryan Kellogg, the undisputed ace of this staff, he has really just found his stuff here in his junior year.
He's really a Friday night guy, but he's been so good on Saturdays, you can't take him out of that role, so he's the Saturday guy for these Devils.
And Tommy Edman, the leadoff hitter, pulls one into left field, able to turn on a Kellogg fastball, and he gets things going early for Stanford with a leadoff double.
And Stanford remains aggressive. We saw at the start of last night's game, up there swinging, especially on Kellogg. He's like Martinez. He's going to throw a lot of strikes. They're going to come up there and swing the bats, but Kellogg is so good at putting that behind him and moving on to that next hitter.
So Bo Branton will step into the box. The right-handed hitter out of Honolulu, Hawaii, a freshman. He's reached base in 5 straight games. Stanford already with the man in scoring position. It's Edman as Branton shows bunt. Lays it off at his feet. It'll be called foul as Edman tried to advance.
And Marquis just continuing to play small ball from the first inning. And that's what he's going to do this whole series. No matter if it's the first inning or the 9th inning, he's going to try to move those runners and get them to a better scoring position, even though he's already at second, get him to third, and try to get that run home.
You mentioned head coach Mark Marquis in his 39th season at the head of the Stanford baseball program. Pitch from Kellogg. Branton shows bunt again. Slow roller coming charging in is the first baseman Bilek over to first base, and Edman advances over to third. 92 degrees here in Phoenix, Arizona today. With a breeze of about 6 miles to the northwest, it feels like 88. So it still feels comfortable out here, but the temperatures have really started to pick up as we approach early April. Also forecasted to be 97 degrees tomorrow, and tomorrow's a day game, so that one will likely be a whole lot hotter. And in terms of temperatures, one of the bigger tests the Sun Devils have faced as the Kroger swings on, puts one in the opposite direction, slow roller on the grass, and David Greer comes charging in to make the play.
And not what you want right there from DeKroger, what Marquis is looking for. He's looking for something through the infield, not that slow roller. So now it's up to Dunlap to try and get that run home and try to get something through this infield and try to get a hit to score that run.
So after the quick leadoff double from Tommy Edman, Kellogg's worked quickly through the 2 and 3. He now faces the cleanup hitter, Alex Dunlap.
And he works fast up there. Kellogg barely gives you time to breathe as a hitter, which makes you uncomfortable, and that's what makes him so good. He gets on the mound and he throws it.
Swung on by Dunlap and tipped off the end of the back to the backstop. And despite starting all 23 games, Dunlap obviously in the cleanup spot, he's only batting .193, so he's had his struggles. 17 hits and 88 at-bats. He does have 5 doubles, but he's only driven in 7 runs so far. As Kellogg delivers a fastball just a bit high.
And that's what coaches will do. They'll try to move players around the lineup and give them opportunities. Yeah, the average isn't up, but give him different looks. Maybe he might get a different pitch sequence and just try to get him going any way possible.
Ripped into left field. Edmonds going to score from third easily. And Alex Dunlap, who, like we said, was struggling a little bit as of recently, comes around and gives Stamford their first run of the evening.
And great at bat right there by Dunlap. Gets a pitch up in the zone. Kellogg leaves that pitch out over the plate, and Dunlap rips it in the left field to score that run. And a big run in this first inning. Stamford, it's big for them to get on the board first and early, and that's exactly what they're doing right here.
The Sun Devils got on the board first last night, courtesy of 2 sac flies, 1 in the first, 1 in the second inning. So now it's Stamford that pulls ahead first in this one. Not too often you see Kellogg surrender a run early in a game.
No, you don't, but what makes him so good is that in the 4th and 5th inning when he's cruising, you don't even remember him giving up these runs. And these Devils are swinging hot bats, and they're going to give him run support. And so as long as he keeps that run limit down, the Devils are going to be just fine.
Matt Winokur is now the batter for Stamford. And he's hitting very well this season. Batting .329, has 26 hits and 79 at-bats as he watches a pitch from Kellogg just a bit outside for a ball.
And Winokur is a power threat in this lineup. With Barr out of the lineup tonight, Winokur's that real power threat in the middle. And lefty on lefty, you like this matchup for Kellogg. Try to keep that power at bay.
Lefty-lefty matchup, the 2-1, opposite field, into left, tracking it back on the run is Peavy House. He gets under it with plenty of time to field, though, and makes the catch, and Stamford leaves Dunlap over on first base. But Stamford pushes ahead first in this one. The leadoff double from Tommy Edmond. He comes around to score, advances to third on the sac butt from Bo Branton, and then comes around from the RBI single from Alex Dunlap. So 2 hits, 1 run, no errors, 1 runner left on for Stamford in that inning. 1 frame down at Phoenix Municipal. A whole lot of baseball still to play on this Saturday night. We thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope you stay with us here on the Pac-12 digital stream. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Phoenix Municipal Stadium here for the bottom of the first inning. Max Rossiter, Andrew Chapman with you for this one. Stamford pulled ahead 1-0 in the first inning thanks to an RBI single from Alex Dunlap. Now on the defensive side of things, let's go ahead and see what the Cardinal are working with. Over from left to right, we have Dunlap, Klein, and Walker making up the outfield. DeKroger over at third, Jackson playing short, Edmond the other middle infielder at second. Winokur doing the work over at first base, and behind the dish is going to be Bryce Carter. On the hill today for the Cardinal is going to be Gabe Kramer. Kramer getting his first start of the season. He carries a 2.16 ERA as he delivers the first pitch for a ball to Johnny Seawald. He's pitched 8 1/3 innings so far this year. He's walked 5 and struck out 4 as the second pitch of the at-bat is a little low and inside for ball 2. And now Max, Gabe Kramer is getting his first start of the season for the Cardinal. Kind of an interesting move by head coach Mark Marcus. But obviously a lot of injuries on this Stanford team. Most likely, or clearly, Cal Quantrill, who was one of the main pitchers on this staff, who recently had Tommy John surgery. You would expect that to be the guy that usually Stanford puts up against Kellogg. Instead, they're going to give Kramer his first start of the season.
Not the way Mark Marcos wanted to draw this up, but right now it's kind of a pitcher by committee. He doesn't name the stars for the weekend because he doesn't know who it's going to be. So guys just have to step up on this pitching staff and give those valuable innings to the Cardinal team.
Yeah, we had no idea we only knew who really the Friday starter was going to be for Stanford. The Saturday and Sunday spots were left open, which is usually something you don't see. The ASU obviously had their lineup of Seth Martinez, Kellogg, and Lillick. That was set from almost a week ago. Stanford, we were just kind of left up in the air as who we'll see. And Gabe Kramer is the guy. And he walks Johnny Seawald on the 3-1 count as his first batter. And now Jake Peavyhouse will go ahead and step into the left-handed batter's box. Launches the first pitch high and outside for a ball.
And that's a move Mark Marquis might make to this pitching staff to send a message that these jobs are wide open. Whoever steps up and rises to the occasion is going to earn that Saturday spot, earn that Sunday spot. He doesn't want to just name these guys. He wants them to earn it by their performance on the field.
Jake Peavyhouse batting .286 on the year. This is his 20th game started for the Sun Devils. He has 18 hits in 63 at-bats. 2 triples. That's tied for the team lead with Trevor Allen.
And last night, Peavyhouse didn't have a lot to show for his at-bats, but he had some great at-bats last night, was making hard, loud outs. And obviously the average didn't show the hits that he should have had, but look for him to continue hitting tonight.
Ripped into right field, just like you said, Max. There you go. Advancing all the way over to third is Johnny Seawald. Peavyhouse keeps things going. Runners on the corners to start off this bottom of the first.
When you give up a run early to the Stanford team, this is exactly what you want by the Devils. You want them to answer back with hard hits. And just right here, we already have 2 base runners with no outs with Woodmansey up. This is what the Devils need to do. They need to pound on this Stanford team and keep the throttle on.
Now you got a big threat coming up to the plate, clearly. Colby Woodmansey, he was 1 for 4 last night with an RBI and also a run scored.
He's been one of those consistent guys for you also.
Here's another look at the single from Jake Peavyhouse. Ripped into right field. So now Colby Woodmansey, no pressure on him here, no outs. Runners on the corner. A base hit scores once. First pitch swung on. Line drive into center field. Tagging right away is Johnny Seawald. The throw's cut off at second base. He scores easily. And there's a productive out for the Sun Devils.
Very productive out, and that wasn't just a lazy fly ball. That was an authority line drive to the center fielder. Scored a run. Great at bat for Woodmansey. And now you have Ybarra up, who's swinging a hot bat also with Allen behind him.
Jake Peavyhouse opts to stay over at first base on the sac fly, but this game's tied at 1-1 now. RJ Ybarra steps in, batting .329. 23 hits and 70 at-bats. He leads the team with 3 home runs. He also has 13 RBIs, which is good for second on the team. Ybarra will opt to watch the first pitch for a called strike.
Kramer comes with that hard fastball, but the Devils are a great fastball hitting team. And if Kramer keeps on that fastball, he's not keeping them off balance too much early on. So look for the Devils just to keep hitting that fastball hard just like they're doing.
Prior to this game, Gabe Kramer worked good out of the bullpen, like we said. 8 1/3 innings. Only allowed 2 earned runs all season.
You know, it's tough for a guy to come out of the bullpen in their starting spot. As a bullpen guy, you can get away with 2+ pitches. That means if he has a good fastball and a good changeup. But in the starting role, you really need to have those 3+ pitches, either a fastball, changeup, and a curveball, or a slider. And that's what differentiates a bullpen guy versus starting pitcher. So it'll be interesting to see when he goes to that secondary stuff, other than his fastball, what it looks like and how the Devils react.
And it's a completely different approach, too. Obviously, as a reliever, he's never been in the first inning facing guys who are completely fresh. You know, the bats are fresh. They're not fatigued. They They're hungry for hits, maybe more so than any other point in the game. So definitely a test to see whether or not he can be flexible in terms of these situations here. As he picks over to first base, nothing doing. 1-1 even count on Ybarra.
As a starting pitcher, when you come out of the bullpen, you don't have to hold anything back. And as a starter, you kind of have to pace yourself. You can't let it all loose in the first inning, and by the fourth inning, you're tiring out. So it's going to take some time for Kramer to learn and to adjust. And as his outings get longer, he'll learn.
An off-speed pitch to Ybarra was low and outside, so a 2-1 count on the man they call Tortuga. Fastball catches the outside corner, even at 2s. Not to the liking of some fans, nonetheless. Another pick over to first base, nothing doing. RJ Ybarra, he's flirted a little bit with the cycle this year. No one successfully achieved that goal so far this year, but he fell a triple shy of the cycle in games 2 and 3 against TCU. We haven't seen any similar performances out of him since then, as he gets rung up looking on a fastball that was really in the same location right there as the one that many fans didn't like the previous call.
That pitch is a little out on that outside corner, but as long as the umpire is calling it, we got to swing at that pitch. It's going to take some time to adjust because as a hitter, we see that, we might think that's a ball, so we instantly take. But with 2 strikes, we need to get up there and cover that zone away.
So the home plate umpire, Mike Jarbo, might be going a little bit more of an outside corner zone tonight. The other 2 umpires, Anthony Norris doing the work over on the first base side, and Danny Mascoro over on the third base side. Throw down to first, the pick, the tag, he's out. That was Jake Peavyhouse on the attempted steal. And Carter threw him out on the 1-hop. Jackson was able to dig it out of the dirt and lay the tag down. Trevor Allen was at the plate showing bunt, but nothing doing there as that one fell apart a little bit for the Sun Devils. But still, the Sun Devils even it up in the bottom of the first inning. 1-1 our score. The Devils 1 hit on the inning. They leave no men stranded and no errors for Stanford in that one. On to the second inning. 1-1. Thank you for joining us here at Phoenix Muni on the Pac-12 digital stream. We'll be right back.
Dave Rasley, 42 years a Sun Devil fan. Fans, be sure to check the video board for this inning. Casino Arizona bingo numbers. Leading off for Stanford, right fielder number 6, Johnny Loker.
The 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up to face Ryan Kellogg for the Stanford Cardinal. Johnny Loker will lead things off. Loker this season batting .246. 4 doubles, 3 RBIs. And then on the other side of things, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the ASU defensive arrangements. On the outfield from left to right, Peavyhouse, Seawald, and Allen. And the usual Woodmansey over at shortstop, and Andrew Snow getting his 5th start of the year over at second base. David Greer, who's looked really good over at third. Ground ball from Loker over to second base and on to first for the first out of the inning.
That needs to be a big focus tonight, is getting that bottom of the order out. Last night they hurt us early on. They got some hits. So tonight, Kellogg, look for him to really buckle down and get these guys that down the order that, and just come after them and attack them rather than just laying balls up and trying to get themselves out. We need to get after this bottom of the lineup.
looking at that bottom half of the lineup as there's a high chopper over to Woodmansey, ranges to his left, fields it on the high hop, and over to first base for another quick ground out. 2 outs now in the inning. But Max, yeah, you talked about that bottom portion of the lineup. You look at Johnny Loker, who was batting in the 8th spot yesterday. He was 2 for 4. Bryce Carter, who's on deck in the 9th spot, he was 2 for 3.
Yeah, I think what happens sometimes, we take that bottom of the lineup not as seriously as the top end, and in the pack, every team is deep 1 to 9, and you have to attack every single guy as they're the winning run up there. We just have to get after them and attack them, and you can't take any batters off.
So Stanford not afraid to swing quickly against Ryan Kellogg as the batter Drew Jackson fouled the first pitch off. Now a ground ball over to David Greer, another high chopper. He fields and over to first base for the out. So 3 consecutive ground outs. Ryan Kellogg works very quickly in that inning, and the Sun Devils will head back up to the plate for the bottom of the second. Quick work of the Cardinal, tied 1-1 here on the Pac-12 digital stream. Stay with us.
That's right, I'm over here in the ASU Honor Row because we're always honored to have those who have served our country here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause, a standing ovation for Army Representatives Maxine Barker, J. Bradley Nelson, for the Air Force, Lewis King, and Bill Holder as well, joining us here in the ASU Honor. Thank you all so much. Let's give these great servicemen in the room a round of applause for all they have done for this country. Thank you guys. Thank you.
The Sun Devils would like to welcome Chargers baseball to the game tonight. They are our group of the game.
Back here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, Trevor Allen set to come back up after Jake Peavyhouse was thrown out on an attempted steal back in the bottom of the first inning. Also, let's go ahead and take a look at our out-of-town scoreboard in terms of Pac-12 baseball. Oregon State today falling to Cal Poly 7-2. UCLA tops Washington State 6-1. Also, Washington topping USC today 5-1. Cal and Utah. Cal's pretty much taken away that game in the bottom of the 9th right now. Cal up 11-4. And then Oregon and Arizona, a game we're definitely going to keep an eye on, set to start at 7 p.m. So we'll keep you updated on that one throughout the game. Here, though, at Phoenix Muni, we're tied up at 1-1. Trevor Allen, the batter, 1-0 count on him. 17-game hit streak. It's now 18. Trevor Allen with a lead-off single to get things going in the bottom of the second inning.
Trevor's just on fire right now. I mean, there's not many pitches you can throw up there to get him out right now. He's just seeing the ball so well right now, and he's squaring these balls up.
And I was getting set to showcase how impressive he's been with that 17-game hit streak, and he gave me no time. He just turned it into an 18-game hit streak before I could even say anything.
He's been doing that a lot this year.
So the redshirt senior really hot this season. On point every at bat. Now on first base to lead things off here. Brian Servin will step in.
And Brian Servin, just such a valuable asset to this Sun Devil team. Great offensive catcher, but above all, he is known for his defense. He wants to be the best defensive guy back there, and that's what a catcher is for. His defense is first, his offense is just bonus. And Servin, he's a plus hitter too, and so it's a treat for the Sun Devils that you have a catcher that can hit and play defense.
1-1 count on Servin. The Servin family had a little bit of a run-in earlier this season. Brian Servin has a brother, Jonathan, who plays baseball over at Long Beach State. And of course, ASU had hosted them for a 3-game series and took 2 out of 3 games versus Long Beach State back in early March. So I guess a little bit of bragging rights for Brian maybe at the Servant household at the end of the season.
I think the parents will be wearing Devils gear this year.
1-1 on the Sun Devil catcher. He watches a pitch outside for a ball, 2-1.
And Kramer still coming with that hard fastball. Brian's right on time right here, sees that one, out, away. Look for him to square a ball up here. His timing's right on.
Servants look good this year, batting .303. He's hit 2 doubles, 1 home run. He's driven in 8. As Kramer picks over to first base, Allen dives back in time.
And what's so impressive about Servant is he stepped in as a freshman last year and started the majority of the games. And then this year, he seems like such a veteran. He's only a sophomore, which is so impressive to see a guy like this, especially at a critical position as catcher for his second year as a sophomore. Just all he's done so far, it's impressive.
Among some of his notable Pac-12 achievements so far this year, he hit a walk-off single, one of those 4 walk-off hits so far for the Devils this year to beat Oregon State back on March 14th, as that's the 3rd pickoff move over there by Kramer. He's watching Allen closely. Allen was nearly picked off on the last one. It was a close bang-bang play, called safe though. That walk-off hit from Servant though came in game 2. And ASU had lost game 1 of that series, and then they went on to win game 3 of that Oregon State series. So that walk-off single was huge for Servant to turn that series around as he fouls off the 2-1 for a ball, 2-2.
And that was a great series, that Oregon State series, especially ASU dropping that opener. To come back that Saturday night and Servant to have that big hit on that walk-off and then come back Sunday and also win the series. Such a great way to start the Pac-12 series and season for the Sun Devils and just set the tone for the year. And now they're rolling here in the Stanford series.
Another pick over to first base. Servant watches a pitch inside for a ball. Allen getting a lot of attention over there. He is tied for second in the Sun Devils starting 9 in terms of stolen bases. He's stolen 3 out of 5 attempts.
That's what Coach Smith has shown all year, that he'll run with anybody and he'll run in any count no matter what inning it is. Last thing didn't work out with PV House, but he's going to stay aggressive. When we get thrown out, that's not going to change his game plan. He's going to stick with it and put the pressure on Stanford to play catch and throw baseball.
So despite multiple pickoff moves from Gabe Kramer, Trevor Allen was moving over to second base on the 3-2 pitch there. So Kramer will come set. Another pickoff over to first, quick tag, and Trevor Allen is back in safely. I think that's maybe 6 or 7 pickoff moves now in this one at bat.
Stanford's paying a lot of attention to Trevor, and with a full count, Servant's not a big strikeout guy, so you can send that runner and try to stay out of that double play in case a ground ball happens.
Kramer offers a shallow fly ball into left center field. A dive from Klein. What a grab from him as he makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
Klein continues to just flash the leather in center. He had an unbelievable play last night.
Yeah, back in the second inning, yeah.
In the second inning. I mean, it's just, he's really athletic out there and just makes some great plays and just patrols center field exactly the way you want a center fielder to play out there.
So an awesome catch from Klein yesterday in the second inning. Another one here in this second inning. Last night's was a deep fly ball in which he was ranging all the way into right center field to his left. This one was coming in.
And it just shows it's a lot easier for an outfielder to come in on the ball than back on the ball. And last night he went back on the ball, made an over-the-shoulder catch, and then today laid out on that ball ahead of him. Just shows such a well-rounded defender out there, and he can do it all in center.
Joey Bialik, now the batter. The 7-hitter for the Sun Devils as the pitch is delivered down in the dirt for a ball. Bialik batting .283. This is his 14th game started on the year. He's driven in 6, and he has 2 doubles so far this year.
And Bialik just has really earned that spot over at first base. Got some chances early, and he's really made the most of it as of late, just with the bat and on defense too. He's playing both ways really well right now.
That one fouled right over the top of our broadcast booth. Joey Bialik originally started his collegiate career at the University of Cincinnati. Then he transferred to the community college route to Paradise Valley Community College in Cincinnati. And now he's here in Arizona under head coach Tracy Smith. Fly ball, opposite direction, very high. Doesn't have the distance, but it's misread, and it's going to hop over the wall for a ground rule double. Trevor Allen just now realizes that it went over the wall. He was barreling around third base, told to hold up. He didn't know what was going on, but it was the right fielder, Johnny Loker, who looked as though maybe he lost that one in a stadium light. Was tracking it back all the way to the warning track, realized it was too shallow, and when it hit the turf, took a big hop and it's over the wall. So a ground rule double.
And this is Arizona's always a tough place to play, especially in twilight like we're here right now. It just loses the ball in the sky, very hard to see.
It didn't have the distance, but it was very high up there. And there you see, realizes he ran too far back. Now it hops over the wall. So now runners on second and third. Allen over on third base.
And these are the type of mistakes that Stanford doesn't need, especially early to a number 6 Sun Devil team that take advantage of those types of mistakes. Totally change the dynamic of the inning. It makes Kramer throw extra pitches and pressure pitches because now he's got guys second and third with only one out. Changes the whole dynamic of the inning right here.
David Greer will now step in, and he lines one into left field. Allen's going to score easily, and the Sun Devils take the one-run lead in the bottom of the second.
And Greer continuing to fill in for D'Natale and doing a great job. Just staying hot. Has his average up over 400 right now. I mean, just impressive hitting and just the way he stepped in. You can't say more about it. It's been awesome.
It is now the 13th RBI for David Greer this season. Also his 19th hit. And now, since he took over for Dalton D'Natale, David Greer has gotten a hit in 12 out of 13 games. So you can't ask for much better of a replacement over at third base, considering Dalton D'Natale, obviously a veteran on this team. David Greer, the sophomore, has stepped right in and done an outstanding job as Andrew Snow watches the pitch for a strike. 0-1. Let's take another look. Really not afraid to swing quickly in these at-bats. The 1-0 pulls it into left. One-run lead for the Devils.
And a lot of credit to Greer on that. It's tough going through the whole fall and the beginning of spring as a backup player. The mentality is different. It's different if you have a starting role and you know you're going to be a starter. You prepare a different way. And then when a starter goes down like that and he has to jump in, I mean, it just hats off to him for the way he stepped up and really prepared himself for these big games.
Snow will watch the pitch outside for a ball, 1-2.
And Snow's another one of these young guys that has had an opportunity to play. He's done well as of late, but I think the big test for him is if he continue his hot play through these Pac-12 games.
Swung through, it looked like a changeup there. Andrew Snow goes down swinging. 2 outs now on the inning. For Kramer, that's his second strikeout of the game. Back to the top of the lineup. Johnny Seawald getting his second at-bat of the day. Back in the first inning, he got things going with a walk and then came around to score.
And look for Smith to do a first and third play here. Very aggressive, especially with 2 outs on that runner at first. He wants to get that guy to second. Look for some movement off that first base.
Johnny Seawald shuffles the feet and shows bunt.
And Johnny right here works the count so well, as we talked about. But right here, he needs to find a way to get that runner in from third and get up and make the most and not leave these 2 runners on base right here.
The 0-1, hard shot, diving over at second base is Edmond off the tip of his glove and coming home to score David Greer. Joey Bialik, rather. Joey Bialik scores. So it's a 3-1 lead for the Sun Devils now.
Just what the Devils need right there. Seawald stepped up, came up with a big hit to score that run, and now we're up by 2. And we really are making most out of that misplay in right field and that ground rule double on that Bialik fly ball to right. And that's what good teams do. Mistakes like that, they make the other team pay for it. They don't let them get away easy with them.
6 RBIs now for Johnny Seawald. Not too often he gets that opportunity in the leadoff spot, but when he does, able to capitalize there.
And Kramer's had to throw a lot of pitches through 2 innings and big-time pitches with runners in scoring position. And that's big for a bullpen guy in the starting role. We'll just see how he lasts and if he tires.
Jake Peavyhouse swings through a breaking ball. 1-1. And you know, Johnny Seawald has, I don't know, I guess you could say received a little bit of criticism as a leadoff hitter because, you know, he hasn't found that an extra base hit yet this season. But overall, I mean, batting .271 coming in this game, that's really all you can ask for out of your leadoff hitter, be able to get innings going like he did last inning with a walk. And then in this position, basically hitting similar to a middle of the lineup guy with that situation and able to come through there as well.
Especially as a junior, I mean, the expectations on Seawald are so high now. After you've even played just 1 year at ASU, your expectations are so high, and they're hard to reach. And especially Seawald, he's done everything that if I was a coach, I'd want my leadoff guy doing. I don't care if he's getting extra base hits. I want him getting on base any way he can, and especially with Seawald with his speed, he needs to get on base to show that speed and put that pressure on the other team.
So Jake Peavyhouse is out in front. A 3-1 count with 2 outs. Gabe Kramer trying to get out of an inning, which already has 2 earned runs against his record. Peavyhouse watches, called strike on the inside portion of the plate. That misplayed ball out in right field by Loker and ultimately turned into a ground rule double for Bialik is not determined as an error. Simply, he lost it in the light.
Which is a tough one as a pitcher. He made the pitch, got the fly ball. It's tough that it scored.
Slow rolling chopper towards the middle, coming running in is Edmond, and he throws on the run to end the inning for the Sun Devils. But overall, the Sun Devils look good in the bottom of the second. They now scored in 2 straight innings. In that one, 4 hits, 2 runs for the Sun Devils. They leave 1 runner on. They now lead 3-1 as we head into the top of the 3rd inning here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. The Sun Devils trying to clinch Game 2 of the series and the series overall. Ryan Kellogg back out on the bump. We'll see what he can do in the top of the 3rd here on the Pac-12 digital stream. Ryan Kellogg was able to set down all 3 hitters he faced in the top of the 2nd inning, courtesy of the ground out. A ground out to second, a ground out to short, and then a ground out to 3rd. Kellogg gave his infield a good little bit of work there in the top of the 2nd inning, but got out of that one quickly. And now Bryce Carter, the 9-hitter, doing the catching today for the Cardinal, will step in. Kellogg delivers. Carter watches, called strike, 1-1.
And the infielder, they're on their toes behind Kellogg. Gets a lot of ground ball out. Such a big guy on the mound, but throws in that downhill angle and throws down the zone. Just gets a lot of ground balls, and the infielders love playing behind him because they never get on their heels. They always have an action. They're always making plays behind him.
Last year, in his senior year of high school, Bryce Carter, 2014 Louisville Slugger first team high school All-American. A lot of freshmen and sophomores in this lineup for the Cardinal. As Carter grounds one over into the deep 3-hole, Bialik Fields backpedaling, Kellogg over to cover, and there's one out.
And watch out here. Kellogg is already getting some early run support, and he's finding a groove right now. And he's really settling in, and this way he does best. He just settles in and comes right after these guys and gets all those ground balls.
A whole lot of being a starting pitcher not only has to do with how well you manage your pitches, but also how well you manage your thoughts and your mindset. And really all Kellogg needs is to smell a little bit of blood in the water, really, to put it in metaphorical terms. And the game is as good as his, it seems as though, at that point.
He's such a mature pitcher up there. He's thrown so many PAC games. He knows what it takes to win, and he just prepares himself so well. All 3 years he's been here, just prepared himself well on Saturday night.
Tommy Edmond, a ground out over to the shortstop, Woodmansey. That's 5 consecutive ground outs now for the Cardinal.
And the Cardinal, need to make the adjustment right here. Kellogg works away to these right-hand hitters and gets those ground balls roll over to shortstop. And for lefties, that roll over to second base. So they need to recognize how they're pitching him and make that adjustment and either go the other way or get up on that plate and take away that outside pitch. That's the only way to get to Kellogg, is make the adjustments, because he's going to pitch the way he can, and it works.
Bo Branton, hard line drive, one hop over to Woodmansey at short and over to first for another 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Kellogg, all courtesy of the ground out, keeping his infield busy. So no runs on, no hits, no errors for the Sun Devils, keeping that defense tight on the infield dirt. 3-1 our score. We'll be back in the bottom of the 3rd inning here at Phoenix Muni on the Pac-12 digital stream. Back here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, Sun Devils lead the Stanford Cardinal 3-1. ASU looking to grab their first series win against Stanford since 2011. ASU does lead the overall series 96 games to 93 games. As Colby Woodmansey watches the first pitch for a called strike, 0-1. But ASU has lost the last 3 series against Stanford. That could all change tonight. Woodmansey watches again. Fastball low and outside, 1-1.
And Kramer attacking these Sun Devils second time through the order. Needs to mix it up. First round, the Devils were right on his pitches. He needs to change up the pitch sequences. As you see, he's going to his slider more here. That's a great idea for him, because the fastball the Devils are on, he just show that other pitch and get the Devils guessing a little bit up there.
Woodmansey watches the off speed, 2-1. Swings through an inside fastball. Foul ball over to head coach Tracy Smith.
And when you show that slider, that off-speed pitch, it makes that fastball that much faster. And that's why on that pitch it jumped on Woodmansey after seeing those 2 straight sliders, because even though he's timed for that fastball, it just jumps on you because that slider's in the back of your head.
Woodmansey has gotten a hit in 20 out of ASU's 23 games this season. Leads the team in total bases, hits, also RBIs. Full count to the sophomore, watches outside, ball 4, free base.
And that's why he's in that 3-hole. The 3-hole is a hitter that is your best all-around hitter, very consistent, and Woodmansey, as he's shown all year, very consistent. That's why he's in that 3-hole to set up to get on base for Ybarra in that 4-hole right here.
RJ Ybarra was caught looking for his 11th strikeout of the season in his first inning at bat. We'll now have a mound conference and a call to the bullpen as the night of Gabe Kramer comes to an end. Head coach Mark Marcus has seen enough. He'll go to the bullpen, right-handed pitcher. Stanford will look to mix things up for these Sun Devil bats. We'll see if it works to their favor. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick break as we give you the scouting report on the new Stanford pitcher when we return.
Stanford now pitching number 26, Keith Weisenberg. Now batting, designated hitter, R.J. Ibarra.
So a new pitcher on the hill for the Stanford Cardinal. It's going to be number 26, Keith Weisenberg, the right-handed pitcher, freshman out of St. Petersburg, Florida. Kind of a rough ERA so far this year at 10.66, but he's only had 4 appearances, a 1-2 record. He's pitched 12 2/3 innings, allowed 15 earned runs as RJ Ibarra fouls the first pitch off to the right field concourse. He's struck out 12 so far this year and walked just 6. Weisenberg, he got that first career win of his back against Cal State Fullerton on February 22nd. 2-time All-State back in high school. His senior year, he was 9-2 with a 1.09 ERA with 88 strikeouts and 64 innings pitched. So definitely a pitching line as a high school senior that was worthy of the Stanford program.
I think the big thing that worries Stanford right here is the opposing batting average is at 365 for Weisenberg hasn't thrown a lot of swing and miss stuff up there, and that's why the inflate ERA is at 10.66. But a short leash for Kramer up there just because of his pass in the bullpen.
The throw is high over at first base. Ybarra is able to run through the bag in time for a fielder's choice, but a ground ball over to Edmond and a quick flip to Jackson.
And not the start that Stanford Cardinal needed with Kramer. They need him to go deep in the ball game to save these arms in the bullpen. They've had to use the bullpen immensely in the past week and especially last night too. So Weisenberg, big thing for him is just eat some innings up and try to keep the deficit at 2 runs or lower. And that's what Weisenberg is coming on to do. Just keep the deficit low and eat up some of those innings for the Cardinal.
Trevor Allen, the batter, deep to left field. And just foul. That was a close one. He got a lot of that one. Pulled it, just barely foul.
Just swinging the hot bat like we've been talking about, jumped on that first pitch, and there's no fooling Trevor right now. It's just a matter of where he's going to hit and how hard. Jumped on that first pitch, a little out in front of it, but I mean, squared it up and look for him to just square something up fair now.
It's clear that whole inside portion of the zone right now for Trevor Allen is just a hot spot for him. Because that line drive back in the second inning was on the inside portion of the plate. That one there, he almost cranked out of the ball yard, was high and inside. So maybe if I'm a pitcher, I throw outside, but you never know. He could go the opposite direction with that too, as bad as so hot.
And that's what makes Trevor so dangerous, because he goes to the right center gap really well too. And he's just been getting those middle half pitches and hitting him to the left side. But you start throwing him out over, he's going to make the adjustment and go to the right side.
Allen watches just a bit outside, 2-1 on him.
And not a lot of action over at first base with Ybarra running, mostly staying put, going station to station for him. But you never know. Coach Smith has done some things this year that pushes the envelope, and you never know. He might send Ybarra over there at first and just keep Stanford on their toes.
Weisenberg comes set. Running is Ybarra. The throw high. There's the tag. Ybarra, the slide. He's called out. Really a bang-bang play right there, but Bryce Carter has now thrown out both batters trying to steal, or both runners rather, trying to grab a base on him tonight.
And Coach Smith shows you right there. He's going to run with anybody in any count and any batter. Continues to stay aggressive and Carr behind the plate. They're testing it, and he's rising to the occasion. Throwing out 2 guys already. Throws the ball very well behind the plate.
Ground ball over to the right side. Edmond fields and over to first base for the out. So Colby Woodmansey thrown out over at second following the walk. RJ Ybarra thrown out on the steal. We don't see him trying to steal too often. And Trevor Allen grounds out on the next pitch to end the inning. So the Sun Devils go down 1-2-3 despite having both of the first 2 runners on. Our score 3-1. No hits, no runs, no runners left on for the Sun Devils. Off to the top of the 4th inning, approaching the halfway point in this one here on the Pac-12 digital stream. We'll be right back. Stay with us.